Righty, Dana. How are you feeling, brother?
I'm good. It's been a long time coming.
Has been
good.
a long time coming.
It has. It has.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks of Japan after you left was definitely like had to scrounge up a bit of ticker. Which turned out to be a good stint.
Almost felt like I was breaking up with a girlfriend. You know, I was leaving you in Japan. You were like, oh no, I wish I was coming home.
Yeah.
I just got a ticket out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was sick to see you get rewarded for it. It was nice.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah, funny. Yeah, it doesn't always work like that. As I said to you when we were there, I was kind of went there that mentality, being okay with going there and losing first round all 4 events, especially because they were strong events. And I was almost like, oh, that's unreal that I happened to get paid off, because so many times you do all the right things and you don't get the payoff.
Yeah,
you know?
that is one of the funniest and probably most bizarre things of tennis. I'd say probably in any sport, I guess. Yeah, I found even in my career sometimes when I have low expectations, it enables me to have way more fun on court, because I'm not so stressed out about, I need to win. And I feel like I have just way more fun, and I'm going to play better from having fun, no doubt. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic expectation, because I guess you put so much time into one certain thing, so you're going to have expectations, it's just natural. But I feel like when they aren't as prevalent, then I can have much more fun on the court, and it's much more of an enjoyable journey.
Yeah, it's such a balance, because as you say, the more time you do invest into something, you can't deny the fact of how much of a major factor, or the major factor of your life it is. So when every day when we wake up and we're thinking, we're going to train today, we're playing tennis today, I'm packing to go away for this tennis tournament, tennis.
Yeah,
then how are you supposed to maintain low expectation, right? When it just dominates your whole life. And as the paradox of it all is the more you can not expect, then you can play, and that you can find that flow state, that sort of thing. It's just finding that state where you're not playing in fear, you're not scared of losing, you're not scared of missing, you're not scared of what is. You're not always fighting outcome.
Yeah, I feel like the negative emotions will come, but you kind of buy into them less. They somehow have less of a stranglehold. And then I feel like when that happens, then they're going to come up less and less. But yeah, as you say, you hear all the time people saying, you just gotta act like you don't care out there. It's like I've sacrificed a lot of my life to do this thing, and so it's hard just to go out there and go, I don't care. It's a really fine balance. There's been many times where I'm much too serious. That's maybe my downfall. I want it too badly sometimes, but then it can also work the other way, where you're maybe not. You're not taking it serious enough. You're not focused. You need to have that quiet, calm focus, like a Federer, for example. He seems so calm, but yet so focused. And Alcaraz is a great example. He's got so much pressure on him, and he's still able to just smile out in the court in the bigger stage. So it's definitely as life is in general. It's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah, I feel like Alcaraz, he uses that as a good cue to probably bring himself, when he looks at Juan Carlos Ferrero, he remembers to smile. I've heard him being quoted about when he plays his best tennis, when he's smiling, and your body, it's like a placebo. If you're smiling, your body reacts to it. I messaged you and Sammy the other day, because I was chatting to this Zizu Berg's coach, Ruben Bemelmans. He was there,
Good
and
player.
yeah, he was a great player, and he was talking about matching personality to your tennis. So I was just reflecting on that, and it's something I've always thought is important. But I was reflecting on the factor of, for instance, me, I'd idolize certain players when I was younger, like Hewitt or Rafa, that are really intense, and I realize more so at the age I am now, that I play my best tennis when I'm not trying to find or trying to search for that intensity, or not actually ripping come-ons, or not that fired up, which I thought that is a good, being intense is a good cue for focus sometimes, right? But just thinking nowadays as well, I'm just I realised the benefit in being able to actually just be a little bit more myself on the tennis court, and almost try and not get too aroused, and just to find that state of flow.
Yeah, I feel like it comes through experience. I've had patches where I'm yelling "come on" all the time. I'm being really intense. Maybe I've been told by certain people that you're that little mungu. You need to really show them, be in their face. And then I've had times where I'm not really saying anything, maybe not saying enough. And then so it's kind of, and you feel different every day. So you can't expect yourself to be the exact same. But it's just through experience you learn that you don't need to try so hard. Just as you said, just be who you are, and it's gonna come really naturally. And as long as you find a way to be really, really focused on every point and have 100% of your mind focused on problem solving and how to win this match, then, I mean, it's just you don't need to try so hard with all the other stuff. It's just going to be natural. If you're the number one importance is just be really, really set on how to win the match, what you're doing, what's going on in the match, and I think all the rest will take care of itself. Like the come-ons will come at the right time. Like it all just happen. You don't need to try so hard with it. I feel like kids can maybe feel like they try too hard with the intensity, and you can kind of see it. It's that when a player's like trying too hard, it can definitely be to their detriment for sure. But yeah, it's a balancing act again.
Yeah. You found a little bit from the period in the middle of the year when we were traveling and you were chasing the French, Wimby and US Grand Slam cuts. You went through this intense period of being on the 2-5, on the stressed side of the Richter scale, and fighting all these demons and playing, with just high stress and high tension and so badly wanting to win, and also because you put in so much work. How much did you think or what did you learn from the deflation of that tension after the Grand Slam cuts?
I mean, this year was an amazing learning experience. I probably played 2/3, maybe even 3/4 of the year, so wound up on trying to make these Grand Slam cuts. I was 1 or 2 wins away from the Grand Slams, which is something I've been dreaming of playing since I started playing. So you're right there, and then all you need is a few more matches, and you start to get so hell-bent on it that every point feels life or death. There was zero room for me to enjoy it because I had so much expectation of myself. I felt like my fuse was super, super short. I was not playing tennis just to simply because that's what I love to do. I was playing it to get this thing, and when I wasn't getting it, I was just getting so wound up, and you could see it was a tangible effect on my game. I went from playing how I usually try and play, quite relaxed, quite aggressive, like to take chances, mix it up a bit, and I started just playing super passive, just making balls, and it's probably the curse of having good movement. I could just maybe get away with that in the futures level, so that's what I kind of resorted to. I was really, really afraid of missing, and that was because I was afraid of losing. And as soon as the last tournament counted for US Open, I played in Bloomsfield, or where was it? Lexington. And
the first tournament after the cut.
Yeah, first tournament after the cut.
Lexington.
So I stopped worrying about the slams, and honestly, I lost the last match that would have counted towards US Open, which means I didn't get into US Open. I thought I was not going to get in. It ended up being 1 out, but I thought I was going to be a fair bit off. And even though I lost, and I was like, I just did the whole year of being so close to slams, and I didn't get there. But at the same time, there's a massive just relief. I was like, oh my goodness, this massive weight lifted off my shoulders, and now I can just play tennis again because I love it. I'm not so hell-bent on the result and winning. I just remember that match. It was actually against Tristan Boyer. It was the first time the whole year I was smiling out on court, and I just didn't take the results and the misses so personally, and kind of that relinquished a lot of the fear when I was playing. That was the first match of the whole year I was okay to lose because I wasn't trying to get into the Grand Slams, and that really showed me that expectation and joy can't really coexist. They fight each other. They can't be with each other.
And do you feel like obviously you're going to encounter heaps more times in the future. Next year it's going to be Grand Slam cuts again for qualies. Hopefully there's gonna be main draw cuts you're chasing. There's always gonna be like a level of external value you're gonna be placing on achieving goals, because you play a sport where it's very black and white whether you're in or out and what your ranking is. Do you feel like you've learnt? Do you feel like you'll be able to implement those lessons better when they come back around, because they're going to come back around knocking all that expectation, and they're going to continue year after year?
Well, it kind of showed me that I was I wanted it so badly to make the Grand Slams, and I thought if I don't make that, like it's going to be the worst thing ever. Like the whole year, like how could you not just win a few matches? Like, I had a great year last year, and how can I not just keep, like, it's not that many more points, like. And then when I didn't qualify I didn't make enough points for US Open, the feeling was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was thinking I was going to kind of feel shit, maybe really lack motivation, or I don't know. I was just as we all do, imagine it's going to be much worse than it is. We always kind of think it's going to be a lot worse, and it showed me that even after I didn't make this slam cut, I was feeling fine. I was still really happy. I was still loving what I was doing, and I was really keen for more. So I guess when it comes around, I'm going to be less scared of not reaching my ranking goals, because the feeling after I was still me. I was still happy. It didn't really affect me too much at all. So I'm going to be less scared of not kind of reaching those goals, I hope. But still, there's going to be that pressure for sure. And that's just something you have to kind of deal with.
Yeah, I guess your first year dealing with that sort of pressure, because it's definitely a massive level up and a massive breakthrough, and financially a breakthrough as well. But I found that so often in tennis, like that's what it's taught me. So often I can be shitting my pants, so scared of losing a match, and you lose, and it hurts, and then 2 hours later, you're like, holy, I'm still Callum, I'm still just chilling here.
Still got your mates.
My family still loves me, I've still got my mates, I've still got my health, and you realise like, the fear of that thing is so much worse than that thing, and it's people have that in all walks of life, whatever they're chasing. But that's where our mind is very dangerous, huh?
I feel like we're just so brought up to believe that achieving is everything, so we put such an emphasis on it. But in reality, it's actually not that big of a deal when you don't. Or I've noticed that it's not. It's much worse than you think it's going to be, and yeah, I think once you realise that, well, when you play tennis, you win matches, you have a best week of your year. You feel great for 2 days or 1 day even, and then it's back to the next tournament. You lose your match, you feel terrible, and then 2 hours later you're feeling great. Like, you just realise that it's all just ebbs and flows. It's all temporary. The highs are gonna not last long. The lows aren't gonna last long. I think knowing that can maybe make you less afraid of not achieving, and maybe even hold on to the highs less as well, because they both come and go. Yeah, no matter how bad things seem, it's gonna. I've had losses where I think it's the end of the world, and then I'm laughing with my mates a couple of hours later. So it's just, you're shown that these things are extremely temporary. Feelings are extremely temporary. Yeah.
It's a crazy sport, but it's the same in anything you're doing in life. If you're chasing, if you think all this hard work, all this study is going to be worth it when I get that job, or when I get that new car, or as you say, when you even toning down the significance of the wins, because sometimes you can just be waiting. And it's a funny line. A lot of people say, now's that moment where all the hard work's been worth it, and they're going to sit with their team with the trophy in the locker room. Yeah. And then how long does that last? That's going to go away, and you got to wake up the next day, and you might be basking in your own satisfaction for a while. It can be really fulfilling. For instance, I know it's a minor breakthrough, but even me, these last 2 tourneys in Japan, I just noticed. I reckon it's helped me be a bit more content with this week off. I've had a week off for the first time in the whole year, and I've been a bit more like, oh, wow, I actually earned it a bit, And I feel like I've been a little less eager to get back into training. I've noticed myself sitting on that high a tiny bit more, and but then that also the ego also wants more of that. So then that there's a part of that is used. The part of that is used as fuel heading back into the preseason and realizing that, okay, you're chasing that feeling again, and it's just that feeling of actually not just the result but actually improving, hey, and actually feeling like what was a breakthrough, as we're talking about mentality at the start of this chat, that on-court energy was a breakthrough to be playing in that state. And I'm sure you found that when you had some moments after these Grand Slam cuts, like when you played in Shanghai and whatnot. You almost probably, I'm assuming or you tell me, if that gets you excited when you think, holy shit, I got a really good level when I can rid myself of all the unnecessary baggage, then your level can shine.
Yeah, that's what I've had. Not a great year like on paper, but I've probably feel the most confident I've ever felt in my tennis, and I think that comes from I've shown the level in a lot of patches, and I seem to put it together more when I played Shanghai. That showed me that I can like sustain it. So I've always had, I've kind of showed the level that I can play at a really high level this year, and I just haven't been able to sustain it. And I, especially after that US Open, last tournament for US Open, that feeling on court. I was just felt so relaxed, and just felt really comfortable. So yeah, even after a year of, I had 6 months straight of not winning 2 matches in a row at the challenger level. But even after that, I still probably have the most belief I've ever had in my game, and with that, I feel less rushed and less like I need to prove to myself that I have the level. I've kind of already shown myself that, yeah, I can play at this level, and it's not something out of my range. I can do it, and I feel like I can do it consistently, and that's what I'm, trying to put a big preseason for. And but yeah, I'm feeling surprisingly extremely confident after. Like if I told myself I was going to have this year, I would be feeling like, I'm not sure, like a lot of doubts, but yeah, somehow I'm feeling really, really good about my tennis, and the belief is there.
Yeah, I think that also comes with age and experience. Even though on paper you're at the same ranking as you were last year, I think you just got a whole lot of experience under your belt, and you're actually feeling like any of those scenarios that you're going to find yourself back in. Now it's not your first time around, and obviously it wasn't your first time around. You've had, a lot of different stages throughout your junior career and everything, but now that feeling of also, it's almost like a burden in your sense, because you've always, every year you've always improved, every year since you're born. And you've always been sort of the top of your age group, especially in Australia. You've been top 3, top 2, top 1 in your age group your whole life. And you're used to this, okay, I'll just keep playing, and this is where my trajectory will go. And then everybody finds it, like, everyone, when they get to seems to be a massive thing at that Grand Slam qualies cut as well, but also even before that, people find it, but also just becoming, you're not growing anymore. As much. You're obviously still growing like outwards, but you're not growing when people hit their early 20s. You're fully developed, and that trajectory can just slow down, or it can plateau, and then the demons can come in a little bit. I was chatting with Omar about this a lot in Japan, because he was on that just really steady uphill journey, or downhill, however you want to look at. You're just flowing, the form's just increasing, results are increasing. And then it can be a little bit of a freak out, hey?
It's all kind of relative. You kind of get used to it, and then I know it feels weird, to have that kind of same ranking, but as I said, it's not fazed me as much as I think it was gonna do, and I think maybe that was what I was really scared of. I guess that's what I'm probably most scared about in tennis, is not achieving, and that's what I was so scared. That's why I was playing with so much fear in this year. But even though I've had a year where kind of the ranking's the same, I really think my game's evolved, and especially, like, yes, my tennis, but especially mentally, and that's just, I mean, you can get told all the right things, but really through experience, that's where you're gonna kind of absorb it the most, for sure.
Yeah. Speaking on the tennis front, what do you think's evolved in your game this year?
My serve. I feel like my serve is a lot more of a weapon, and I'm using it much more smart. My dad's helped me with that. I think sometimes in the past when I'm not serving good, I keep trying to go for my serve. But now I'm kind of using it, a bit more tactically. Using a lot more mix-up serves, kind of spread the court, open up the court with it, not just necessarily try and go for big serves, because I'm 5'7". I'm never gonna just get three points.
So you're using different spins and ball tosses.
Yeah, I think
as
so.
well.
I think serve, and I'm feeling more confident in my service games. I feel like it's less of a. It's never been a weakness, but I'm feeling like I'm holding easier, and I'm feeling more confident behind my own service games. I feel like my movement's just getting better and better, especially out wide. I feel like I'm defending more consistently. I think definitely I've kind of got more accustomed to how I want to feel on the court, and
Emotionally,
yeah. And I feel like I feel like there's less effort on the court. I'm letting it happen a bit more naturally, and with that comes a bit less stress, for sure.
it seems like it's a little bit more not, because I've watched so many matches. It's not like, oh, what Dane's going to show up today on court. You know?
Yeah, I feel more. Yeah, I feel like I've found a consistent kind of me every time I'm out in the court. It doesn't mean I'm feeling the same every time on court, but I feel like I've been able to find more consistent mentality, and matches have started to feel a little bit. Maybe because I'm taking the losses, and this might have come with the kind of belief I've got from this year, but yeah, I'm feeling. Obviously, I don't want to lose, and I'm still attached to winning, but I'm feeling I don't take the losses as personally, and I can be a bit more creative on the court, and then just more relaxed. But that hasn't really focused and really relaxed, and I think I've really struggled to find that in the past. You know, sometimes been much too intense and just wanting it too badly, too much built up anger and.
So what have you done? What steps have you taken to achieve that? Of not feeling your losses as personally as you used to? Is it just a matter of it happening many times, or what things, or how's that reaction come about, or lack of?
I think when you play tennis, you're playing a tournament every week, as I said before, and you just realise that the losses don't hurt for that long, the wins don't feel good for that long. It's just this constant up and down. So even if you feel like it's going to be the end of the world, it's not, because you've known before in the past, you've felt exactly like this, and it hasn't, and it just happens again and again and again. So I feel like knowing how temporary the feelings can be makes me less attached to them, and don't take them, maybe as personally, I guess. The losses aren't a reflection of kind of who I am, and it's just this, I'm kind of realising more I'm playing this game of tennis, and I'm number one, a human being who's playing tennis. Maybe in the past it's been I'm a tennis player. Like that's
it happens to be human.
Yeah, happens to be human.
It's a funny relative. So everyone knows how hard going through heartbreak can be, right? You get broken up by a girl, it can rattle you. But so if I've just had a breakup, and you might say, Cal, don't worry, he's gonna have to go through his period, it's gonna pass, you know. But but you can tell me, like, but I have to sit through that period. You know, I have to work through it, and it's not. And no matter how much I know logically, I felt like this every time I've had a breakup. You know, I feel like tennis is that in a way.
It's like a rapid scale.
But it's a rapid scale. You have a breakup, and then you get broken up with by losing the match. And you recognise, okay, it's probably now I'm ready for this half an hour period, and this is where you and I find it's so great traveling with you. You find so much humour in the torture in a way. Yeah. It's like, okay, yep, now it's the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna have to work through this period, and you know, one of my best mates, Pup, I remember a quote he said to me a long time ago, and this was actually to do with the breakup. He said, "Just lean into it, brother." And that's what the negative emotions of a loss or anything. If you just lean into it and not fight them. Same with the emotions of being on the court mid-match or mid-training session, not feeling good enough, or fear and everything. I think we've both found a place where it's more. I think meditations helps us understand our thoughts and what they are a lot more, because it can be a place of not like, oh shit, why am I feeling that? No, I don't want to be tight. I don't want to be tight, or fighting that internal battle rather than allowing it to be, leaning into it. I'm grateful for being nervous, because I'm doing this thing that means a lot to me, and
I feel like I've known it myself, the more I'm fighting the feelings, the more of a chaos it is. Like, the feelings are going to come no matter what, no matter who you are. But I found when I'm really angry, if I'm going, no, like if there's a battle in my mind going, I shouldn't be angry. Why are you angry? You're so lucky playing tennis. Like how can you, like why are you getting angry? It's just a made up game. But when I just kind of am sitting with the anger, and it's just there, I'm just feeling it as there's no kind of movement away from it. Then it dissipates so quickly, and it's not even a problem. But when I'm kind of fighting against it of how I should be, like why am I like this, like that's when it's a problem. But if you just, it's just a simple feeling, like and it will pass much quicker, because you won't give it the validity by like fighting it. And when you fight it, you kind of turn it into a thing, you know, you give it like reality, really. But kind of when you even fear, and when you're really tight in the tennis court, you're like, why am I tight? Like I hate being tight. This is what's holding me back. Like I'm never gonna make it because I'm getting so tight, I can't play through it. But if the nerves are gonna come. So the more you try and fight them, the more it's just gonna breathe life into their reality. They're gonna become a much bigger problem. And when I find that spot on the court, when I find that mentality on the court, when I'm kind of the feelings are just coming and going, there's no fighting them or running away from them or indulging in them. They kind of come and go, and they dissipate extremely quickly, and I'm able to be much more present and much more focused on problem solving to win the tennis match. I feel like, yeah, that's when I'm playing the best.
Yeah,
that's when I'm feeling the best.
Oh, yeah, and then it's enjoyable. You're not thinking like you finish a match and you're just like, oof, that was torture, like that was brutal.
And the fear and the anger, it's just a response to the environment. It's nothing personal. It's nothing wrong with you. That's just how we are. There's anger. It's just the natural functioning of being a human, being a living organism. There's anger, and there's fear. It's nothing to take personally. It's not a reflection of your insufficiencies or something like that. It's just all it is a response to the environment. You're playing a game, and human nature, you want to win the game. So if you're not winning the game, there's going to be anger. If you're not playing how you want to play, there's going to be anger. And it's a big moment. You're playing for maybe your own pride, playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's going to be fear. Like it's not about becoming so strong that those feelings don't come, because that's not possible. It's about somehow, through experience, I guess, not just giving them the reality, because really it's you that is giving them the reality.
Yeah, I think there's also an element of just past trauma in there, where you're so used to reacting a certain way, you're used to taking this certain reactive path in that moment, and then when you're back in that position, you almost unconsciously are taking that same path.
Yeah, I had a massive period where, I don't know how old I was, 15, 16, where I would come to training, I'd be feeling really, really excited, keen to, train, and then I wouldn't be hitting the ball, especially my forehand, wouldn't be hitting my forehand good because I was working on technique. And then all of a sudden it would go anger, like so much anger, like how, like I'm not good enough, like why are you not, how is it not getting better, like why can't you just hit the ball how you want it? And then it'd go from all these flustering emotions, and then it would just go, I'd just flick a button and just go numb, and I'd be training, but I wouldn't be there. That was my coping mechanism, and it happened again and again, and then it happened so many times, or not really so many times, but it happened a fair chunk of that year, and it got to a point where it was like, it's me. Like I'm seeing this pattern happen again and again, and every time I feel shit after the training session, I'm feeling guilty about. And then I'm feeling like, oh, what's wrong with you? How can you not? It's just you're playing a freaking tennis game. Just everyone else can just train through when they're not playing good. Why can't you deal with it? And it just became this thing. And then I guess it really comes down to a choice of just one day you got to. I mean, you can keep doing it.
You had a brutal year that year.
Yeah,
it was. I remember that cycle happening, and I'd try and logically talk you out of it. There's no way.
I had Sharky in my corner, great coach. He was helping me so much, great mentor, telling me all the right things. But yeah, you can only lead a horse to water. Definitely can't make it drink. So
was that the year that you went away and tanked up a storm in Europe?
Yeah, that's the year I went away and I tanked. I was with Des Tyson maybe, and I tanked. I played 10 matches. The only 2 matches I played, Junior Wimbledon and Junior French, they're the only 2 matches I didn't tank. The other 8 matches I tanked.
And leading into every one of those matches, did you think you had convinced yourself that you were going to put in?
Yeah, that's what kind of kept me going every day. I was like, oh, this is it. This is the day. You know, you're gonna kind of override your feelings, and you know, you break through. And kind of when the thoughts would come, I'd be like, oh, this again. Like, how can I? Just keep happening. It's because it's like I wanted the feelings to not come at all. That's what I wanted. And so when they came, I thought, oh, what's wrong with me? It's a reflection of me. But then the feelings just keep coming. They're gonna keep coming. The anxiety's gonna come. The anger's gonna come. The doubt's gonna come. It's but I guess only through experience you kind of learn that. And there's no such place that's kind of rid of the fear. You might have glimpses of it, but yeah.
Do you think there was an element? I remember that trip. The one or the two wins you had. One of the wins you had, or maybe you only had 2 wins, but one was against the highest ranked player you played.
That was maybe the only other match I didn't tank, against Zizou Bergs. Actually, he was the highest ranked player I played the whole trip, and maybe that was because I tried, because I was like, oh, I'm not here to win. I got no expectation. So the other matches maybe against lower ranked guys, I'm like, oh, I'm a decent junior. I should be like tracking well. There's other guys ranked higher than me. So yeah, it was weird. Yeah, I had the highest. My only win that trip was against the highest ranked player I played.
Classic. How much do you think comparison to peers at your age, maybe Rinky and Tristan, and just internationally, where you thought you would be at, how much do you think that played a part in you suffering mentally through that time? Or
I guess that's where all suffering comes from, really, because you're only bad like in relation to how other people are going. You know, I feel like it's been a great source of motivation, but also in the same sense it can really put doubts in your mind, because you're going, oh, there's other guys younger than me that like are doing so good, like I'm not tracking well. But in the same sense, there's people around your age starting to do really, really good, and you're like, I'm not worse than this guy. So I mean, definitely at times, whenever I'm suffering, it's because that's all it comes from, the comparison. That's all where it comes from, really. Because you're only doing bad, you know, in comparison to others. If there's no one else doing it, then there's no one to compare yourself to. And I think it's just a natural thing. You're always going to compare. That's just a natural thing. Especially trying to be the best at something. It's just you're going to compare all the time, even if you don't want to. It's gonna be there.
Yeah, it's funny because we're in a sport where the only gauge of where you're at is comparison.
Yeah, it's the whole ranking.
It's the only way to understand where you're at.
Yeah, it's
not like, oh, you're surfing good and you feel like, oh yeah, I'm hitting this corner of the wave better, and my bottom turns are cleaner. The only way to compare, you can feel better. But it can be so black and white. But I suppose, as you touched on earlier, there are ways of, you can feel much more confident in yourself, even if you haven't changed where you're at in that comparison scale.
I feel like there's been less. When I was younger, probably feel jealous or kind of envious, because I used to, and still do now, like attach someone, how good they are at tennis, to who they are. Like if someone's good at tennis, they must be a good person. And now I see it actually has no real relation to one another. So I guess it's because it's less of a reflection of me. I'm not as kind of envious of other people's success. I see it more as a source of, well, why not me then? It's definitely, as I've got older, had less of a kind of crippling effect.
Yeah. Did you have periods of feeling jealous of Rinky?
Yeah. Oh, not just Rinky, but anyone my age doing good, yeah, for sure.
How do you feel now, and if you see him like at 70 in the world?
I feel super stoked for him. I just admire his mentality. Since I was 12, I've always admired it, and I guess maybe not so much. I was jealous. Maybe a bit of the results when I was young, but I was like, fuck, like this guy, he's really switched on and really, really backs himself. Like, and that's probably something I've missed, especially when I was younger, like the real belief in myself and my level. So I was maybe more envious of that. But yeah, definitely jealousy is it, yeah, you have to deal with that coming up.
Speaking of other people, how is as you've got in the early 20s as opposed to being a dream like 15 or 12-year-old, how is your perspective on, or has your perspective on other players changed? That, when you're younger, you're thinking, okay, if I was 30 in the world, like I don't want to make up the numbers. How has your perspective changed on what is a good career?
I remember when I was really young, I used to say, I want to be the best in the world, and everyone says that when they're really, really young. And I guess slowly over time, you start to realise that, start to realise how many good players there are and how hard it is to get up there. I feel like I used to have a number on it. I used to want to win Grand Slams, but I don't know if this really answers your question. But if I can kind of get to a place where I don't have to try and earn money after, that's my kind of, I guess making it in the past is like, I don't want to be that guy that's 300 at 22. Like what?
But what did you think? What's the first thing you think of, or you thought of when you thought about making it at 12? Like what if you thought, okay, I made it. What's the first? Did you picture like holding a trophy?
Yeah.
Everyone looking
playing
at you.
Playing like the best. Yeah, playing like in packed stadiums, playing against the best in the world, having sick like battles, and that's making in front of thousands of people. But yeah, just definitely my concept of making it has definitely changed.
Got a little leaf cruising in there, a little flower head. Thanks. Yeah, that's it, man. Okay, I'm loving chatting. I'm going to try and direct this a little bit because I wrote down some questions for you. What's the time we got going so far? 37, sweet. Okay, I thought this might be an interesting one to ask you because you've had a lot to do with it, but what were your thoughts on the National Academy pathway you took as a junior? What were the pros and cons to that pathway you took?
Definitely the pros are just being around great players and the environment and the coaches and the facilities, it's in world-class environment. So that kind of instills, a lot of belief, like, I'm must be pretty good. And just knowing that the direction they're pushing you in is probably the right one because they've got years of experience behind them, all the coaches, and they know what they're doing. But almost, I don't know, it's hard because you kind of have to make sacrifices in any kind of endeavour these days, especially sport. I don't know, the hardest thing was maybe having to leave home, go to Brisbane.
What age did you start going to Brisbane, leaving home?
Like 12, 13. My mum used to drive me. I don't know if there's anything like really, I would say that was tough about it. More, probably the travelling, just getting me out of my own, like, my comfort zone at home and all my friends there and my school,
Can't play footy.
Can't go to the social meetups and parties with your friends.
It's when the sacrifice starts to take place.
That's when you realise, that's when you start to make sacrifices and you
realise that you're actually trying to do something special, I guess.
And then I guess that doing that kind of comes with, you probably put more pressure on it. You go, this is actually my thing, like this is what I'm going to be doing. And but yeah, I think the National Academy pathway is really good. But sometimes I can think, not just National Academy in Tennis Australia, but kind of organisations that can kind of go too one-sided with just tennis, and they can kind of lose the balance a bit, and it can get too much for them, and they can just break down at a certain age because they lose the social aspect, and it's you can kind of then you're only seeing yourself, and maybe they're seeing you as just a tennis player. That's it, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget about all the other stuff that you need to keep you happy and well-rounded.
Yeah.
It was. I had nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah. And what about the prospect of going home? I know you went to BBC and then you went homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, what did you like? Would you Would you do it the same again?
Yeah.
You're not a bigger advocate for staying at school, or you're a big advocate for
I
homeschool, or
yeah, I
it's just
stayed at
individual
school.
path?
I did homeschool I was at primary school, and then year 8 I went homeschool, and then I hated it. I think it was more like just the no social life, and it was just all tennis, and I just hated it.
Were you doing that at NA, Brisbane?
No, I did it at home actually,
Okay.
Sunny Coast. I'd go to Brisbane a lot to train, so I'd be
Oof,
back
that'd
and
be
forth.
tough to get you motivated.
It was tough, and especially I valued school when I was young, but got to a point when I knew I was going to be a tennis player, so school, I did not value school at
Yeah.
all. I was just C-, and I'm great with that. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I was C+, brother.
And yeah, that was tough. I think school's really, really important. If I was bringing up my kid, I would keep them in school. I went homeschool again, and then I went back to school, so year 9, 10, 11. Went to boarding school year 10, 11 at BBC. That was a lot of fun. That was probably when I was most struggling with motivation, tennis. I was having a lot of fun with the boys at boarding school, and
Do you reckon it was important to have that time,
yeah,
though?
definitely. Because even though I was having so much fun with the boys, and I started to realise that, this tennis thing is probably where I get the most kind of fulfillment and joy from. So it kind of showed me that, hanging out with mates, it's probably the most important thing, but it's not everything, you can't just. It showed me that this tennis journey is what I really, really, really value, and then I went to homeschool year 12 because I was just travelling way too much. I couldn't really keep up with it, and I think that was a good decision. I had already gone to school basically to year 11, and yeah, I definitely kind of am a bit scared of kids that go to homeschooling really, really early. So I can kind of just see them just sacrificing all the social life, and I think friends is the best thing about life. Like making friends, that's the best thing in life.
And I think that even if you're looking at it from a just an athlete development perspective, as you now know, becoming a tennis player as a young man, how holistic it is, how many things, how your perspective on life helps you as an athlete, how mental it is. So I also feel like just that social aspect, not even for the growth of a normal human being, but because of the way that helps cultivate a well-rounded human being, they have a better chance to be a higher conscious athlete. Look how smart Roger and Novak and Rafa are. Like, they're super intelligent, well-spoken guys. Maybe Rafa a little less so as the English barrier, but look at Sinner. Look how mature he is, how comfortable he is with, with any fame or any sort of.
It's definitely. You got to somehow find a way to kind of get the most out of yourself, but not do it in a way that's going to burn you out. And you can have. I've probably seen in my life where I've been trying to be super, super disciplined, do everything right, and it just shows me that it doesn't. It's not actually it. It doesn't really. It actually probably is a detriment, because my whole existence becomes about this thing, so I'm putting so much stress and worry onto it. But yeah, definitely. And you got to push yourself. You can't just be lazy and not train. There's things you got to do to be a tennis player. If you want to be a world-class tennis player, you have to train a lot. You have to do gym.
Oh man, one thing that I've admired deeply about you is, yeah, you've had National Academy coaches. Yeah, you've had your parents. Like, your parents have always been unbelievably supportive to your tennis. But I've always been astounded by how deep your motivation is, how deep the place is that it stems from, because it has been extremely consistent, and through all the wishy-wash of going through teenage years, and as you said, going to BBC and learning about yourself, and different kind of stages of life that unfold, different distractions that present themselves, girlfriends, things like that. I've always been really impressed and intrigued by how sure you were on that path you're going on. And I feel like a lot of people, and obviously you kind of have to be one of the best in the world, but it's easy for people to go through that period of thinking, I'm going to quit tennis, it's too hard, or and I feel I've been really taken away by how consistent you've been with your work ethic, because your work ethic, everything, it's always stemmed from you big time. You've been massive motivation to me coming into my life, spending a lot of time together of that discipline and everything. It's been, yeah, it's impressive, dude.
Yeah, I feel like I've been pretty good. Like, there's been times where I'm not liking tennis. And I've somehow, I don't know, maybe it comes from, could be delusion, or I've always thought when I was young that I'm going to somehow make it. Even I've had times where my tennis, I feel like I'm not actually like this, I'm not playing very good. Or if times I've been shown maybe I haven't got what it takes. I've always had that kind of underlying delusion, or kind of thought that it's gonna happen.
That's manifestation as well.
Happen. Yeah,
and it feels deep and true by the sound of things when I've spoken in your life, and I feel like that's super important, and I feel like that's empowering. And as you're getting at, that deep motivation stems from that as well, because it's a chosen journey and it's a chosen pathway, and there needs to be a certain amount of visualization and manifestation to keep that dream prospering.
Yeah, maybe in the past I've been frustrated because I'm like, I love this game of tennis. Like, why can't I enjoy it all the time? But now, no matter what you do in life, you're not going to enjoy it all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe because I know that, then when the times of lower enjoyment or low motivation come with tennis, I don't know, I'm not questioning it so much. And because if I didn't play tennis, I've played it since before I can remember. So I think part of me plays also because I don't know what else I do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think as we've learned, it doesn't actually matter what you do.
It doesn't matter.
And then when you come into that place and you realize that we have to have meaning and purpose each day, it's nice. It's a really nice, convenient purpose to have a elongated meaning and purpose, a elongated trajectory. So we know it's not just, okay, I'm doing this 2 years apprenticeship and I don't know where that's going to take me. And so tennis, because the journey's so long, you say you don't know, there is definitely a part that you play because you don't know what else you would do, because that's what you've always done. But then there's a factor of, as we've learnt now, that we have to do something, and this is a pretty cool thing that we've chosen to do in the way that this is one of the questions I had written of the different things tennis teaches you, and the different the different life lessons that you get put through. And even if you were to graduate to not be in tennis when you're older, there's it's unbelievably meaningful for just being a game of tennis. I can't ever really articulate that properly to people that aren't in it, even some people that are in it. It's all about the interpretation of it as well.
Yeah, I question, like I told myself I love tennis when I'm younger, and you kind of don't really look into what do you mean by love. But I don't know, I've been asked myself maybe recently, because we probably had it brought up in conversation, me, you and Sam, we go pretty deep. I wonder if I didn't think I would make it, I wonder if I would be playing tennis. Like, I'm not sure if I would. It's just interesting, because if you're saying you love it, that kind of implies there's some sort of this unconditional love for this thing. But really, maybe I'm just doing it because I think I can make it, and what making it could bring to me. Maybe if I didn't have that, I would be like, oh, this tennis thing, it's not.
Yeah, well, because you'd be slightly concerned about your future self. So you'd think, well, I think you do love it to the part where if you stop tennis right now, you would still have a hit, right? But you'd have to have another core passion that would take over. So I think it's like you love it like 70%, and then the other 30%'s like, okay, I've chosen this to be my thing. So I'm fortunate enough to love it enough. I think no one loves completely what they do. Yeah. No one loves every part of what they do. Not even anyone.
They love probably what it could get them.
What it could get them. They love most of the parts throughout the day. Like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, he's like a great example of he's the closest to really loving what he's doing because all his thing has been come about through like self-production. Everything's he's not never working for other people, but there's still like just elements of
love doesn't mean you it doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it all the time.
No,
definitely love. Yeah, it's probably the same in relationships. You know, people love each other, but they fight.
Yeah,
and it doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it all the time. That's some crap that we're made to, you know, believe or we hope is true, because that would be the best thing ever if we're just enjoying everything all the time. But it's not possible.
Well, just as way as you mentioned, if you're in a marriage and you love somebody, you have to lock horns with them, or you have to butt heads with them. Sorry, you have to work through like all the stuff that's annoying you, and you have to hate it briefly to be able to love it properly, right?
Yeah.
You have to do that with we've both would have done that with our mums at different times. You do it with your siblings even, and that
with
like
tennis.
yeah, you do it, and exactly you do it with tennis, and that strength. You have to hate it briefly. You have to detest it, and you have to work through those reasons why you are hating it and everything, and that becomes more of a true love. I feel it's not like it becomes a deeper love, you know.
Yeah, I kind of, when I was younger, kind of come to the point where I was like, I'm actually making this tennis thing less enjoyable. It's actually coming from me. And maybe because I hope it would be this thing that I'm loving all the time, and then when it wasn't that thing, I'm like, oh, like there's so many emotions, but now I've chosen this is what I'm gonna do. This is it. So when the bad times come, deal with it. Don't get so attached to it. And that's as I've learnt, as you learn from winning and losing, the good feelings don't last long, bad feelings don't last long, and I find kind of. You can still, because you know that the feelings don't last so long, even when they're happening, you kind of, you know, in a deeper place that this is going to pass. It's okay. Like it's not the end of the world.
It's a freeing feeling.
Okay. Yeah. So you can kind of, in a weird way, not enjoy, but be, I guess, content when it's on the surface. It's not. There's no content. It's really negative. You can kind of still have that underlying contentness or knowing that it's going to pass. Yeah,
it's beautiful, man, when you get to that, and you have to keep checking back into it to maintain it. So many of these questions are molded into everything we've been saying right now. Okay, everyone. Do you look forward to every match, each match day?
Yes, but yes, I'm looking forward to it, but there's times when maybe it's a big match, or no, not a big match I'm really looking forward to. Maybe it's someone like I think I should beat, or probably like if it's someone younger like I think I should beat, like when I feel like I've got something to prove to myself, you know. I feel like that's when I'm still looking forward to it, but it's more like I'm worried about what's going to happen. I'm not just like, oh, I get to play this, you know, I get to just go out there and fight. And I'm like, oh, like what if I lose? That's not going to look good. That's going to...
So when it's matches shackled with more expectation.
Yeah, but the more expectation, the more worried I am about it. But still, every match I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There would have been times where when I was younger, that was like, nah, like a couple times, but nah, very rare. I look forward to matches.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I feel like that's when you know you're doing the right thing as well, because that's like that's a proper day of work or an exam for us. Mm-hmm. But I suppose it is easier to look forward. Would you say it's been easier for you to look forward to matches or training? I'd say for me, training's been a bit more of a chore. I'd say I generally get aroused for matches. Obviously, there's times where it's the opposite. Like right now, I'm more keen on training than matches.
Yeah, it's always changing. there's just more, just like training. You're just going out and kind of you're working on stuff, but there's nothing on it. Like it's just you're just trying to just get better.
Yeah.
But matches, there's a lot more emotions. So it's more kind of exciting and thrilling in a way, because there's kind of more on the line what you think there is. So it's more thrilling in that sense.
That's when my appreciation steps in, realizing like how often like I'm getting butterflies.
Yeah, even when I'm like, even when I'm really, really nervous and like super tight, I'm thinking like, I'm actually so grateful for this, because there's probably so many people that live life when they don't care about something enough to feel like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I stopped playing tennis, that's probably the thing I'd miss the most. You know, that angst and that just excitement, the butterflies. I think that's when they're sometimes uncomfortable, but that's probably what I would be like missing the most. That kind of jittery feeling of just about to go out on court in a big match.
Yeah, that's what I've missed the most, man. When I've had brief periods of stopping, for sure. I've got 2 questions here, but we've done them really. How have you handled losing an important match? How have you handled winning? We've kind of been through that. Why do you seek solo time in nature after tennis trips? It's been a little bit publicised now in the tennis world, in our little tennis bubble, that Yosemite time, and then after coming back from the last trip, you went to Stradbroke Island camping. Why do you think you seek that?
I think because when you're just in life in general, especially being a tennis player, you're always with people, around people, talking to people, having dinner with people, training with people, and it's just good once in a while just to get out of that and not have to put like kind of mask on depending on who you talk to, like personality. Like, you have to always kind of shape shift in a sense, and you always have to uphold some sort of self-rapport. And I've been a bit scared to do it in the past, like the alone time, but it was after when I went to Yosemite before then, I was like, I'm super keen. I've always wanted to do something like this, and it's so nice to get out of that bubble, the tennis bubble, because it is a bubble. And once you get out of it, and you can only really get out of it when you're fully out of it. You know, you can't just have like a week off at a tournament. You have to really get out of it. And the solo time, it kind of helps me absorb and kind of learn what's been taking place. Tennis, not tennis, just what's been happening, and kind of just feel recalibrated and just really ready to go. It's hard to put it into words. I just really appreciate the solo time. I think, and then when I go back into that environment, I'm really like loving it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big contrast, like going from the tennis bubble, all what's going on. You have to schedule, you have to be there at a certain time, eat at a certain time, play a match here, so worried about this match, and then you go solo and you're just kind of chilling and just doing nothing, and just you and yourself, and there's nowhere to be, there's nothing to do.
There's no who wants to be.
There's no want to be.
I mean, there's like, you don't have to be anyone.
Yeah, you don't have to be anyone. Yeah, you don't have to talk to anyone. You can, and it's a kind of freeing feeling, and that's why. Yeah.
For sure. Do you feel like, you mentioned shape shifting, or do you feel like having those times has made you I feel like as you got older, you've become less of a shapeshifter. You're more like one person, regardless of environment.
Yeah, I feel like you can feel it. You can feel it for sure, even kind of subtly, depending who you're talking to.
So you're always taking a role.
You're always taking a role. If you're talking to someone that like you respect, you're not gonna kind of maybe say the things you usually say. If you're talking to a kid that's an up and coming player, you're gonna act a bit different. It's just. But over time I've kind of watched that diminish a little bit, and I feel like it's more of a constant. Yeah. But definitely, I think that's probably going to happen.
Like if you're doing a serious tennis podcast, you'd wear a nice shirt. And
I'd wear a nice shirt and shoes probably.
Yeah.
And but I think I'm shape shifting less.
Yeah, it's good. It was so funny, man, when we were in Japan. Like, just walking around at a few moments. on the shape-shifting front, I become way more realize that I owe it to myself to shape-shift less. I owe it to myself to be like I want to go outside in Japan and stand on the grass in barefoot or sit on there. I want to walk with no shirt in the sun for a little bit, and I feel like, well, I was like I could feel my soul like yearning for that, and then I can notice the perception of maybe I should be more professional or should be someone, and it's a fine line because there are times where you have to respect the environment and be and modify thyself. But
yeah, well, I feel like you're only shape-shifting to uphold the image you have of yourself. That's the only reason why you shape-shift. Like if you really, really didn't care what anyone thought, you wouldn't change with anyone. It's only the only reason why you shape-shift is to uphold the image, or you want people to see you in a certain way. Yeah,
but sometimes you have to shape-shift to because they've got a lens that if you are certain, if you do a certain thing in front of their lens, they're going to perceive you differently, and maybe you have to become a little bit more accustomed to their lens. And it's even though it's like out of respect to a culture, in a sense, just talking on the no shirt and no shoes front, like you and I would, like I'd go, okay, is this even though I don't want the Japanese tennis people to think I'm disrespectful to their culture, because that's how their lens would perceive it. So even though I guess it comes back to... But that's
still coming back to your own image. I feel like it's still, I guess, more subtle way of wanting them to depict you in a certain
but it's
way.
Also, I don't want them to... I don't want to infringe on their well-being. So I feel like for me, wearing no shirt practicing there might infringe on their well-being.
Yeah, shape-shifting is kind of... It's definitely necessary, and probably, especially in the tennis bubble.
Yeah, and the less you're shape-shifting on the match court, as we were speaking about earlier, that's where you're playing your best tennis, where
you're not trying to be someone else, you're just going with the flow. The battery gonna run out yet?
Oh yeah, okay. Intermission. Let's have a quick swim in the pool.
Yeah.
Carry on. I've got a few questions from people. Why do you want to be top 100?
Because I think it represents that I would be able to do exactly what I want after my career. Definitely can't deny that kind of the human desire to want to be famous and recognised, that plays less of a part these days. But still, I think everyone would like to be famous. The money's definitely... I think it's more what the money, like top 100 means that you've earned a lot of money, like most of the time. And I think that means I can help my family out. I can help the future, like my kids and family have a good life, and I can kind of do what I want. I don't have to work a job that I don't really like just to earn money and just keep going. Yeah, I think it's simply, probably just being able to do what exactly I want to do at all times, really.
Yeah.
And being able to help my future, my family, my kids, the idea of bringing them up in a good environment, being able to help my...
What do you mean by bringing them up in a good environment?
Yeah, I guess you don't really need money to do that, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever been in a place where I'm struggling. So like struggling financially, because even if I don't make it in tennis, I can coach. I can kind of do that to earn money. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really, when I properly think about it, it doesn't.
Well, don't get me wrong. If you're a coach, there's still... Okay, So for me to bring up my family in a good environment, which is the motivator to make money, is buy organic, nice, healthy food for them. Not have to be slaving to the grind where I'm not there. I want to be working. You want to be present. You don't want to be working every day and always be there. Also, allow them to not have to scrape the barrel to put them in tennis lessons yourself. Things like that.
That comes with doing what I want. Like if I'm raising kids and I have to work, I can be with them all the time and just enjoy I can be there all the time. And that's. I have a dream of being able to live with my mates. I think that would be. That's one of the things I want to do for sure. Like, I'm not sure what I want to do in the future, but that's one of the things that I go, wow, that would be
in a small community.
Yes, have a massive property inland, Sunny Coast or Goldie or wherever, and just subdivide it with your mates. And me and Ollie Anderson actually talked about this. Like, we both think, that is it. That is just living. Like, you have your own.
That'd be it, man.
You live in the corner, your mates, and you have your own family and private time, but then you're always like hanging out, and it's just like a community. You got that community feel to it. You grow your own fruit and veg on the
community
property.
Veggie patch, community tennis court.
Got the tennis academy there. Your kids are coming in, and we can coach them. And I think that. And I think you need money to do that. So I guess, top 100, that would, you'd be able to do that. So, I don't know. I feel like the why's kind of changed a fair bit. It's less, I feel like we're all made to believe that, money's kind of everything. Being famous is, we hold that in such high regard, and we think that is it. But now I'm coming to realise that that's not really it. It's not going to give you what you think it would give you. So I guess I'm playing less for. I feel like I'm playing less for what it could bring and more just because I'm just loving it right now, and it's given me giving me my best mates that I'll have for the rest of my life. It's given me this kind of sense of purpose. And just kind of the craft of trying to master a game is pretty like gives me a reason to wake up every day. I think I'm playing less. I'm playing tennis less for what it could give me and more because I'm loving it right now. So
I'm going to be a devil's advocate. Do you think with the you're a super unique young man, you got a lot of energy and you got a lot of good intention. Do you think some of your energy could be, do you ever consider that it could be going to waste going into tennis? And do you consider what sort of impacts you could have on the world? Or do you consider whether dedicating your life to tennis is meaningful enough with all the brutality that goes on in the world, or the energy that could be put into bettering the landscape for future generations? Do you ever question the lack of meaning, or is the internal interpretation of the journey of tennis and the realization that you're a soul going through this life, is that enough for you?
Yeah. I'm not one of those people that have aspirations to change the world. And I think that would maybe come partly with being able to do what I want. I'll have the kind of facilities and funds to be able to help people.
Yeah.
But it's not tennis, it's weird, like a sport, it doesn't actually matter. You're playing this game, it doesn't actually mean anything, really. You're not helping. I mean, you might help inspire some, but it's not really, there's people out there giving food to the poor. But no, I feel like maybe the less content you are with yourself, the more you kind of maybe think the world needs to change.
Yeah.
I think, for sure.
Good answer.
But yeah, I know this tennis game, I'm playing this made-up game that actually doesn't matter. It's not going to change the course of history But yeah, I think it gives me purpose, but I still know that it doesn't really matter. But still, I'm fine with that. it not mattering. I think it's actually really liberating. I feel like it is in a weird. The world is in a weird place, but to be good at something. First of all, we're told that it's really important to be good at something. We have to try and strive. And to do that, you have to sacrifice so much. You have to put all your time into this one thing, and you can get really kind of one-sided. And it's quite toxic in a sense, like the competitive environment in a way. Like, all they're trying to just beat each other and be better than the other person. And it's... but again, that's the world we're living in. We can't really change it so much.
Yeah. On terms of inspiring people or changing the world, I think, I sort of realised that it's not about, serving food at a homeless shelter isn't the best way always. Or, obviously in an ideal world, as you say, you make it, you have money, like Federer is building all his schools in Africa, even Kiggs in Australia, different places, he's given like a opportunity to have sport in their lives, a lot of underprivileged kids, things like that. But I think there's also an element of just trying to be a really conscious, warm person in the small little pond of your life and the ripple you put out, and all the people that you do inspire on a day-to-day basis, and myself included, and the people that you connect with, and being a good son and a good brother and good friend. And
I think we help if we just... I feel like we help inspire probably more than we think, We don't have to, as you said, go out and feed the poor, and we can just inspire the people around us. They probably need help as much as
the underprivileged aren't always the ones that need the help. It's
I feel like
ironic.
There's such a societal issue that it's wonderful there's people out there like really trying to make the world a better place, but at the same time I think it's more of a... I'm all for it, but it's a band-aid on a much kind of bigger systemic problem, I guess. That needs to be changed at its core, and I think it's going to be changed by you changing yourself, I guess.
Okay, completely different question here. Other side of the realm. How people might be interested to know, how much do you reckon you spent on travel this year? How much money,
including like paying for my dad as well, you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. So you had your dad travel with you for how many weeks? 10 weeks or something?
Yeah, maybe a bit longer.
15?
Yeah. I'd say like 60 to 80 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Maybe like 68 or 86,000.
Yeah, 68, 86. Okay. So...
Aussie dollars.
Yeah, Aussie dollars. Yeah. How much do you know how much you made this year?
I was actually looking at with Sam. 135 US.
Yeah.
I think
135 US, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know how though.
Well,
it adds up, I guess. You're just playing a lot of challenges and it kind of just adds up.
Also, you played AOQs,
I had 2 big lump sums, which
you had Wimby Qs.
And
Shanghai.
3.
Yeah. Shanghai, you had 30. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's crazy how quickly the money goes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like especially flights. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, nuts, eh?
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So Emirates or something, just hit me up. Thanks.
Yeah, we're chasing a flight sponsor. Yeah, and baggage and everything.
Yeah.
You just adds up so much. Yeah, it's nuts, man. I look back on this year and I'm like, how the fuck did I actually afford that? I don't know where it came from, but it kept coming out somehow. I kept like a $3,000 float for the year. Are there any like in terms of, as we were just chatting when we had this intermission here, talking about the sweet spot we're in with using certain stimulants like coffee to enhance your day-to-day energy and your training motivation. What are some of the, not in the terms of like supplementation, but more in terms of routines, what are some of the staples in your day? What are some of the things in your day that you really value that bring you equanimity and motivation?
I think the best thing about being home is the morning routine. Being able to, first thing I do in the morning if I'm home, or if it's ocean's accessible, or any body of water really, besides a pool, I'm not really too into them. But first thing I do is get in the ocean. That's the first thing I do. I have already kind of my bags packed for the day. I wake up, get my bags, go to the ocean, have a coffee at the same spot, write for, I don't know, 30, 60 minutes, whatever. And then I start my day, go to gym. I think having that kind of the ocean and the coffee to start the day, it's really, when I have that, first sip of coffee after the ocean, it's a great feeling, and then you're looking at the day going, all right, yes, I'm so excited to just go out and court, get better, gym, looking forward to, getting stronger. But I don't know, I used to meditate and stuff. I haven't done that for ages. But no, the ocean for me is, that's what I love most about home.
Yeah. And what about when you're on the road? What kind of things do you try and keep in the routine to keep you? What kind of things do you deem important
I think,
for the day-to-day?
Actually, having solo time in the morning, I really, really value, actually. Yeah, to kind of have my own time or have a coffee. I kind of am organising my day or just writing, and having that solo time in the morning really is, I find when maybe I don't have that, I'm just not as kind of ready for the day. I feel a bit rushed, and so I think the alone time in the morning I value that really highly.
Yeah, just before you throw yourself into the chaos of the day, hey, just have
even
just creating stillness.
Like matches as well. I like to do that a bit before a match. Like have that alone time, listen to some music. Just kind of the alone time kind of just settles everything down a bit and refreshes your mind. Yeah.
So you mentioned part of your, obviously you mentioned, and I've seen from being with you, you like to write in the mornings. What does that do for you, and what kind of things do you like to write about?
I don't know what it does for me. It's just something I really enjoy doing. It kind of stimulates me, I just kind of trying to go in the just reality and kind of seeing it through the lens of my experience and how, I don't know. I like to kind of really question things and go into them really deeply, and I find I can really do that with writing. And maybe I listen to someone talk about something and really captivates me, and I kind of think that and relate that to something in my life. But it seems it's just quite stimulating for me to go into things deeply. It's not like I'm trying to do it or I'm trying to find some answers. It's just how I kind of work.
And so you like the feeling of having that inquiry?
Yeah, I like the inquiry, and I do like the inquiry. Yeah, quite curious.
I think it's a good reminder for me as well when I write as well. To remind sometimes the day-to-day activity of life can underwhelm its magic, and I love writing, or I love solo times listening to music, or remembering how absolutely insane it is that we are these living organisms, holding this identity on this planet, this ecosystem. And sometimes you can forget that very quickly because we're focused beings.
Especially
on
the tennis
task.
bubble.
Yeah.
Especially you can get extremely short-sighted. And I think the writing maybe helps with that. Especially when I go into things, it just makes tennis seems so trivial. And I know that it doesn't really, I'm very motivated to do the best I can possibly do in tennis, but in the same sense, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Yeah.
But it's important for people to not perceive that as a deferring of accountability, because
I found it's actually been the opposite. When I've cared too much, that's where it leads me to tanking and to not wanting to be tennis player, sometimes wanting to quit. And I found that the more I've been okay with not making it, the more I'm actually being able to put in day to day, because my whole self-worth isn't weighing on this thing. And I've actually found, paradoxically, that I'm actually able to put more in and be more professional, and it's, for sure it's helped my tennis.
Yeah. How many hours of sleep do you try and get a night?
9.
Nice. Yeah.
I hate not being slept enough, especially with all the training we have to do. It's like,
yeah. So 9's optimal for you.
Yeah, I think 9. I can get away with like 8 and 7.5, but I try and get 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Last one from me. You've kind of touched on this. And then we'll go into the questions from the other people, but I had written here, where do you see yourself in 15 years?
Well, I'll be 37. I see myself playing.
Yeah.
Playing, maybe starting to get the academy going.
Yeah.
starting to think
develop
about
the community.
just settling down, develop the community. Start to plant the flowers and the veggies and fruit on the block of land.
Yeah. And also, just another thing that came into my head because we were talking about girls in the intermission. Have you found it? Has it ever bothered you that it's hard to have a girlfriend or develop a relationship through your because of your routine, your lifestyle with the amount of travel?
Yes, but I think now I feel really okay being alone and being with myself. So I feel like I'm not going to jump into a relationship prematurely or to kind of not be alone. I feel like now if I find a girl, I'm doing it from a less of a place of trying to not feel alone, but really because I'm super into them, and I feel like there's gonna be more longevity in that relationship. So I think it is tough, but you get used to it, and I feel like now if I find the right girl, then it's gonna be long term. Yeah,
and it's not to say it can't happen.
Yeah,
I mean you have had girlfriends, but it's just makes that a bit harder, and I think
Definitely.
It makes it a bit more. You're not going to. Makes you less inclined to enter stuff you're not fully into.
And when you're playing tennis, and we're not the type to go out much, so it's like you're playing tournaments where it's 90% of the time it's only guys.
Yeah.
And we don't go out, it's too tired, you got so much training to do, so you're just never really seeing girls.
Man,
so it's like, you're really never seeing them much.
It's funny, I was in the surf yesterday thinking about doing this podcast with you, and I was like, this is my 12th one. I haven't had one girl on.
Yeah.
But I was like, I have never been around girl. I had the Aussie tournaments, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking that time to just chill a little bit more and catch up with some friends and in Sydney, like Dave and Saxon and whatnot. And it's and it made me realise how few times we're actually around girls, around males so often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Different.
That's why it's a land of the dating app sometimes nowadays, but both of us just struggle in a sense to jive with that exactly. It just feels a bit weird.
Yeah, it feels a bit weird. I'll be on it occasionally, but it just feels weird.
And when you're moving in 1 week, it's like it's got to be pretty shallow to just have one encounter. Anyway, okay, so I put out on Insta a few questions. Let's run through them. This one's from our mate Jack Mellish, who was on stage with Post Malone recently drinking a shoey.
Was he?
Yeah, did you see that?
No way, no.
You didn't see it? Man,
yeah, that's unreal.
It was classic. Yeah, he was touring in Oz, and I just saw it on Jack's Insta. He I don't know how he got taken up on stage. You can fill us in, brother. But he's up there and took both his shoes off, had a Posty passing the microphone.
Oh my goodness!
He said something about loving this beautiful human, as in Posty, and then they drank a shoey together.
Wow,
classic.
That's sick.
But
I haven't seen that.
He a little legend from Sunny Coast as well. He said, how important is travelling with a group of mates when playing international tournaments?
I think no doubt when I'm with mates, I'm enjoying myself a lot more. And maybe because I'm enjoying myself off court so much, there's less I need to get results less because I feel like maybe if I'm by myself or really grinding, I need the kind of results to feel good and keep me going. But when I've got the mates around me, like we're having a sick time no matter what, I think I value that very, very high. Being able to travel with mates, that's the dream of mine. You know, if I had enough money, that's what I'd do straight away. I'd just travel with mates.
Yeah.
I obviously have a coach and stuff, but
yeah, I think it's a reminder, as you said, when the times when you are solo grinding, it's a reminder that you are there to do a job, and that's win tennis matches. Sometimes when you can have, that's why I like traveling with you so much, because we can just banter and joke around outside of the tennis so much. So it's a reminder of, that you also have a license to like be happy and be playful outside of the job that you're there to do. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so, from our Canadian lady friend Stacey Fong, what's your prehab and mobility routine? How do you not get injured with your game style?
Being 5'7" and 68 kilos probably helps. I think I'm quite diligent in the gym and stretching. That definitely plays its part. Luck plays its part.
Genetics a bit.
I've been for a couple of years now. I've made sure I've been doing like a lot of stretching in the morning and like warming up. And I feel like that really gets the body prepped for my day. I'm not one to do heavy weights in the gym. I haven't done heavy weights for a while now. I'm more kind of valuing mobility and kind of really challenging balancing movements that don't require such heavy weights, so I don't put so much stress on my body. It's tennis, I don't know, you don't need to be the guy that's lifting the heaviest weights. It's not about that. So I think, more of a kind of longevity approach in the gym definitely helps.
Yep. Tom Hahn asked, how many trunks?
9. That's easy.
Oh, that's easy. 9
trunks.
Mate. 9 trunks. Taj Wilson asks, so we kind of got into this a little bit. It's a great question. How do you enjoy yourself on court every match? Or how do you try and stay mentally focused and present to play your best?
What was the first part? How do I enjoy?
I think the first part is how do you enjoy yourself on court every match? And
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
No one does.
Yeah.
I think having the goal that you will is probably the one that actually makes it less enjoyable and makes it more of just a mental warfare with yourself. I feel like when you know that it's not going to be enjoyable every single second, then when it's not enjoyable, then you're not like stressing about it. You're like, oh, this is just part of it. So I think maybe relinquishing the fact that it's not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think staying present. Again, just not kind of, if your mind is going everywhere during a match, kind of not, as I was kind of saying earlier, not breathing life into it by wanting how you feel to change in any sort of way, and just feel it as it is. And you're out there to win the tennis match, so use your mind not to worry about your emotions and how you're feeling. Use your mind to problem solve the match. Don't waste its energy into thinking how you should feel or how it should be, what the score should be. I shouldn't be losing this guy. Don't breathe life into all that jargon. Just, you're out there to win. So use your mind to problem solve and think about what you need to do to beat this guy.
Yep, great answer. He also writes, Taj, how do you deal, I know you've dealt with this one a lot, but how do you deal with knowing you're working as hard as you can and you just can't perform?
It feels a lot better than if I lose a tennis match and I've given it absolutely everything, and I can look at myself in the mirror and go, yep, that was just that. I gave everything. I couldn't have changed anything. Even if I lose, losing still hurts, but I feel great about myself after. There's no guilt after going, I should have kind of been better mentally. I was a bit weak. But if I have a match where I'm not mentally switched on, that really kind of hurts. And that's, I think if I can look at myself and say, yeah, I've kind of putting everything I can into training, even if I'm not getting the results, it still feels much, much better than looking at yourself and going, there was something more to give there. Like, I think that's all you can really ask of yourself. So if you're not getting the results, just if you have the belief that they will come, and everyone says this, but they will come. If you're good enough and you put in the work, the results will come. So It's just about just knowing that they will come and riding the wave a bit.
And the factor of they will come, but only as your individual version of results coming. It's not to say that two people put in the exact same work for 5 years, they're going to have the same results.
And also maybe question why you want the results. Like why do you want the results so bad? Like what does that represent, or what do you think it's going to give you by having the results? I think so. Yeah, more kind of maybe delve into. I feel like when I'm thinking about tennis, I like to, go delve into things and really try to unpack them, and kind of question your why, and just keep questioning things.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of made to believe a lot of things through just our indoctrination in the culture, and so I think just keep questioning, and the most important thing is how you're going about things right now. So and as I said, the results will come, but it's more about the process. And if you'll feel good about yourself if you've had a massive career, even if you haven't made it, you've put in everything. You can look at yourself and go, I just gave that a red hot crack. I can assure everyone that if they did that, then even if they don't get the results they wanted, they're gonna walk away fine.
Yeah. Corey Gall, our cracker boy, mate, he asks, who now has the best mullet on tour?
Corey?
Or
JJ Wolf? Is Corey's mullet?
Corey's
now?
gone rat tail. He's gone rat tail. JJ's got him. JJ's the best mullet on tour.
JJ,
yours is subtle now.
I don't know.
Max is grown out.
I don't know what mine's doing. JJ, he's just the most iconic because he's up there as well in the rankings. And
it's definitely a better mullet if you're
if you got a mullet at 400, you're a drop kick. But if you got one at 40, you're fucking coolest guy ever.
He asks. He's got 3 questions. The second one is goal. Do you have goals for 2024, and if so, what are they?
Yeah, top 100, I'd say. I think it's a tough goal, but it's a really tough goal, but I think I can get there. I haven't been one to really put, I want to be this a certain ranking. I haven't been one to really set goals. So I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of saying I want to be top 100 because it sounds good. Maybe.
But I also feel like, just from my perspective,
I feel like
it's required that belief.
Yeah, I feel like it's a place I think I can get to. But mate, I don't know. Been less in a, maybe because I've had that kind of belief that it's somehow we'll get there. There's less need to put goals and of markers of where I should be. I feel like if it's going to happen, it'll happen when it needs to happen.
Yeah,
it'll happen at the right time.
And from observation, you're much more like the proof is in the pudding type of guy rather than setting a ranking or result goal to chase.
I feel like putting the number on a piece of paper won't change anything about how I'm going to go about things. It won't change my belief. It won't change anything really. So I don't. Everyone's different. Some people need that kind of number to aim to, which I am aiming to it, but I don't need to be here by a certain time or anything.
Yeah.
Not really. I haven't been one to set. I haven't been massive on setting goals. Maybe it's holding me back. I don't know.
Right. Corey asks, Okay, build your dream Aussie player, and me too. I touched on these two in a few of those polls. The best shot here and there.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'd go serve Kiggs, no brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
First and second. I would go with